Welcome back. This is Dad's Book Reviews. I'm Kevin.
I'm Don.
This is my dad.
We've got some really nice books for you this month.
Awesome. So, how many books we have?
6 books. One of them is an 8, but it's one that one of our readers recommended, so I thought I'd include it anyway.
Okay.
The next book is Into the Labyrinth by John Bierce, Bierce. I think that's how you'd say it.
Sounds reasonable.
It's a fantasy series named Mage Errant. There's 260 pages long. They're fairly short books, but every successive book gets longer until the 7th book is 700 and some odd pages long.
And not finished?
And it's not, I don't know. I've only gotten 2 books in, so I'm not sure how far it goes.
Okay.
Hugh of Emblyn is our protagonist. He's a young man, teenager. As far as he's concerned, he's the worst student in the academy at Skyhold has ever seen.
This is self-opinion?
Self-opinion. Well, it's pretty well opinion of most of the people there.
Okay.
He can barely cast any spells at all. Those that he does enable the casting tend to fail explosively. He's managed to attract the ire of the most promising student in the school, the nephew of the king. And Hugh has no friends, no talent, and definitely doesn't expect a mage of his to be able to pick him up as a apprentice at the end of the choosing. He thinks he's going to be sent home because he doesn't think anyone at the academy would ever choose him. His biggest problem is he doesn't believe in himself. He's kind of whiny. That put me off a little bit at first. He doesn't think he's good enough. He's not smart enough. He's not worthy enough to succeed in his own mind. He's been beaten down by everyone, including family, to the point that he just doesn't see any way out. And it'll take some good friends and some good training to get him out of that self-depreciating cycle. When they get to the choosing, a master stands up and chooses him, and two other kind of outcast people there, surprising the heck out of him. His master is able to explain to him why he can't cast any magic, and explain to the other 2 girls that he also chose why they can't do what they're supposed to be able to do. And he explains to them how he's going to change their lives and make it so that they can do well. And so things start to get better for him. Now all he has to worry about is the final test for the first years, which is they're made to go into the labyrinth under Skyhold and make it all the way to the center, get a token there, and then make it all the way out. That's not a safe thing to do. And not all students make it out. They don't lose many, but they do lose some. And he's...
Lose the worst ones at least, right?
He is really worried about this. And he has good reason to be. This is a simple, enjoyable, young adult fantasy. I gave it an 8. It's a good solid book about a young mage coming of age out of obscurity. And there's very little depth to the story. It tells the story, and we don't know a lot about the backgrounds of any of the people. We get dribs and drabs here and there, but the story's not very deep. But it is enjoyable, and it's well told what is told, and it was enough to keep my interest. It's a quick and simple read. It would need to have a lot more depth to it for me to increase those numbers. Limited use of mild profanity, not really bad. No offensive sexual content. There are violent incidents but of high intensity, but it's not really bad, and it's rated for preteen. This is a good young adult fantasy book.
So why did you choose to include this 8?
Because we had someone that's listening to our podcast or whatever they are that suggested it.
Okay.
So I read it and I enjoyed it.
And it's 8 because the story doesn't have as much depth as you might like?
Uh-huh. he's a whiny kid. I'm
He's a whiny kid.
assuming he's going to get out of that. I've read 2 books, but he's still a whiny kid at the end of the 2 books. And until he gets out of that, it's hard for me to really relate to him.
Okay. Sounds good. I do appreciate occasionally getting ones that don't have a lot of profanity, don't have any sex, and don't have extreme violence. So.
You could read this to your younger kids.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, not the youngest, but the younger ones.
All right, well, 6 books.
Some of them are really good. I think you'll enjoy reading some of these books.
Lots of different mix, it sounds like. Some apocalypse-ish, some fantasy, some sci-fi, so lit RPG.
It's all there. It's all there, and gamut from read to your kids to stay completely away.
All right. Hopefully you'll find something that you are interested in.
Good reading.